Why can't you compare this AMD 8-core to this Intel 8-core? Well, as I'm sure plenty of people will sarcastically mention in the comments, you can, so what's the deal here? Well, when I say compare, I don't mean how fast each of them are in a given game or a given CPU benchmark, I mean compare them in terms of their on-paper specs. So even though this is an AMD 8-core and this is an Intel 8-core, that doesn't mean that they are the same thing or equal in how they go about doing that. Both Intel and AMD make 8-core CPUs, with the Ryzen 2700X being AMD's offering and Intel making the i9-9900K. Both of these do have fairly similar specs on paper, obviously 8 cores and 16 threads, either 16 or 20 megabytes of cache, and either 4.3 or 5 gigahertz of boost clocks. But while they can be used as comparisons, they can only actually be relevantly used as a comparison results when you're looking at the same lineup of chips. So for example, if Intel launched, say, a 9800K that was the same core count and same cache but lower clock speed, then you could use those metrics as a comparison. The reason for this is fairly simple. The way that Intel goes about designing a CPU is completely different from the way that AMD does it. Imagine an example here of a Ferrari 458 versus a heavily modified Honda Civic, for example. Both of them can do, 200-ish miles an hour with about 550 brake horsepower. Both of them can do quarter mile times in about 11 seconds, but the way that they get to those places is very different. One of them is a natural aspirated V8, it's a luxury car, it's a status symbol, and the other one is a home-built turbocharged 4-cylinder that rattles far too much when you go quickly. The same goes for CPUs. Intel actually hides a RISC core, or reduced instruction set computing core, inside its x86 supported CPUs and has a dedicated part of their chip to be able to translate the more standard x86 instructions into RISC instructions, which are more efficient to execute. Comparing that to AMD, where they've got their CCX units, which is effectively a block of 4 cores, which can have some cores disabled depending on which CPU you get, and those are connected to other CCX units via what they call Infinity Fabric. This means that while they are really good at putting a lot of cores in a CPU and can be quite heavily tied to your memory speed, it's not necessarily the best way to go about single-threaded operations, especially if the single-threaded operations aren't overly well optimized and so bounce between the actual cores themselves. So while you can compare benchmark results, and I highly recommend that you do, bear in mind that when you're comparing, say, AMD's new 3rd generation Ryzen CPUs to the Intel 9900K, for example, like AMD did on their CES keynote, it's not necessarily fair to say that AMD's new Ryzen 3 will be 5.2 GHz because it was slightly faster than Intel's 5 GHz 9900K. So I hope this video has given you some idea of why you can't necessarily compare, or need to be careful when comparing, especially different family lines or different manufacturer CPUs. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments down below and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can, providing I can give you a reasonable answer. And of course, if you want to see more Tech Explained videos, then check out the playlist over there or up in the cards above. If you want to see more videos in the Tech Explained playlist that I'm not currently covering, then make sure you leave those in a comment down below too, and make sure you subscribe for more videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, with live streams on Thursday nights where we answer your tech questions. You can also check out, as I said, the other videos over there. You can support the channel by checking out the links in the description from the Amazon and Overclockers UK affiliate links, which don't cost you anything to use, but massively help me out when you do use them, so thank you very much. Or you can support me directly on Patreon and get cool rewards for doing so. And you can also check out the merch link if you want a cool hoodie like this one, or private internet access, which is a great and cheap VPN, or Humble Bundle for cheap games that support charities. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.